Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a VR to Chris at Elemental Cartomancy and also inspired by Orshi and Ange on Drag Orshi's channel and Ange from Trinkets and Tarot. This is how I use Oracle. Well, that's the hashtag, how I use Oracle. And I'll put the hashtag obviously in comments, so please do check it out. And Chris's video as well. Here we have a selection of my Oracle decks. How do I use them? A couple of different ways, to be honest. If I start with this one. So this is I don't know, you could call this an Oracle deck if you want to, but it's something that I've got from Etsy, and it's lots of questions. There's some blanks to write your own questions on. And it's just questions to ask the tarot. It looks like I've put the first couple in upside down. And if I can't think of a spread, I suppose it's a bit like making your own spread, you can just throw these down and use them. If there's something going on and you want to dig deeper and you know what your main question is, but you don't know how to dig deeper on your question, I often use these as helping clarify questions. So I might see if there's a question that pertains to the subject but doesn't quite cover the subject. So I'll ask my subject question, and then I'll come through here and I'll take a card and I'll put them down. So a message to my heart from, you know, whatever it is that's causing fear. So you put that down and then you put a card down. So I use these in that way. And I don't necessarily just use these with tarot. So I could use these with oracle cards. So if I wanted to ask the oracle a question, I could use this as well. I will admit that these aren't used often. And because it came from Etsy, I put them on a big piece of A4 sticker and I stuck them to the backs of, well, yeah, stuck them onto cards that needed reusing, repurposing. So all the backs are different. And that was just a timely, creative thing that I did, which is why it's so chunky. And I haven't decided how to keep them. So they have a cute little ribbon and a bow. So that's one. I mean, yeah, arguable, I suppose. Is that really an oracle deck? I don't see why not. It gives questions, it creates a spread. And it can also be used as journal prompts. So if you don't want to put cards down, you could use them simply as a journal prompt and write about them. So that's deck number one. What should we do next? So this was one of my very first oracles, Denise Lynn's Sacred Destiny. I absolutely adore this deck. I'll probably never get rid of it. It's just keywords with pictures. And I generally use this as an overview to energy of a situation, a sort of an external landscape, what's affecting the situation around me, or what am I missing. And I can sometimes pull these just on their own as a quiet contemplation card, or I will pull them to go with, or to end up, complete a reading. But to complete a reading that I'm doing, I'll use any of the oracle decks potentially that are here, except for a couple which I'll mention in a moment. This again is one of my very favourite oracle decks for using. Angels and Ancestors Oracle. There are so many different ways to use this deck, which is what I love about it. You can use it for guardians to meditate with. You can use it for questions that you want to ask. You can use it for energy that you need to bring in. You can use the symbols. You can ask for the animals. You can ask for the people. There's just really, you know, you can work with the energy of the seasons. So many ways to work and use this deck that I couldn't even begin to myself comprehend, touch on, use either. I just haven't got there. I haven't used them in all those ways, because so far I use this again to answer questions for myself. But my favourite way to use this deck and this deck is together. So I will ask this deck, who has a message for me? So we get the Hermit. And I will ask this deck, what does the Hermit want me to know? Oops. And then maybe I'll get purification. So perhaps the Hermit's asking me to go deep within to consider what's happening. And maybe I need to look at purging some of the things in my, that's causing me bother. So it could be something that's internally causing me issues. So if I know that the Hermit's coming from within, it's a feeling, okay, this is a feeling you'll get. So if I know the Hermit's coming from within, then I'll look for the internal issues that I maybe need to drop, release, get rid of, journal about, get onto a piece of paper, burn, whatever I need to do, get it out of my system. If I'm feeling just generally cluttered in my mind and my house, and I'm feeling a bit like I can't breathe, then I know the Hermit's probably an external factor, and therefore I need to maybe look at my surroundings. Do I need to tidy up? Do I need to put a few things away, or do I need to empty a few junk drawers and get rid of the paperwork or get things in order? So those two decks I do use together, and I enjoy very much. And I can, again, they can be used separately as the clarify cards at the end of a reading, but normally I use these together in that format. That's how I've really enjoyed using these the most. I'll put them there. The deck you all know I love the most as well. I love them all the most. Can I say that? Every time I pick the deck up, I love this one the most. It's this one, because I just find that this sort of speaks to me, where I'm at, what I'm doing. Yes, it's dark looking, it's moody, but the messages in the deck, the messages in the guidebook, it's just right now, with everything that's going on around us in the external world, this just really kind of gets where we're honing in on what we're doing. We're all at home, we're not going out a lot, so there's so many other things to be doing, like learning, connecting, meditating, finding ways of working around the home, finding ways of connecting with the nature that's around you. There's just so much in this, and working with yourself, healing your body, healing your mind, keeping yourself healthy, that yeah, I really enjoy this. And again, usually as a clarifying card is how I'll throw this one out. Let's put that to one side. Now, these cards I use for inner and outer landscaping. So these ones generally outer landscaping, what's affecting me from externally. This one would be more the internal, the shadow work, the darkness within, the bits that I perhaps haven't recognized that's going on. And just so you can see them both. So we have oracles of shadow and light, and we have the oracle of the Shapeshifters. All three by Lucy Cavendish, and the artwork is Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. So they're the people with the funny eyes, for people that don't like them, like the kind of big eyes. These ones are shiny. I don't particularly like the borders. They're not terrible, but I don't particularly like them. I'd probably prefer them without the borders, but it's not make or break on this deck. So you've got here, hedgehog love, positive, uplifting, new friends going on around you. So looking for, the friendships in the strangest places, I suppose. Here we have the black cat, lost magic, atonement, rebalance. So taking time to reconnect with what's going on, talking to your intuition, figuring out who your enemies are, like what's going on, who's knocking you off your magic. So many great messages in this deck, and the guidebooks for these are kind of a must. You do need to work with them. They have like divination sections in them, message usually from the card itself, a message to yourself, and it's a really nice way of having your own practice. I started with these, reading them on their own, and then slowly people talk about finding the voice of the deck. I can't say that I understood the voice of the deck, but I sort of internally, intuitively knew when to use the deck, even though I didn't understand the deck. Does that make sense? Does anyone else have that, like this weird, this is for that deck type of moment, rather than, oh, this deck is my best friend, and it gives me a hug every time I use it. Like I don't know, maybe it's a type of artwork I use, but yeah. So this one, you get like your message. Again, it's speaking to you, a divination message from the shadows and light. You kind of like, are you dealing with past? It tells you if you need to cleanse your surroundings. The fact that you might have things coming at you from outside. You You might want to just put some protection around yourself. You might want to guide yourself a bit better, or be more aware of what's going on around you. Are you following the wrong people down the wrong path? Are you allowing yourself to be taken there? You know, this one, for instance, although it's you miss someone, also from this one, you know, are you just simply being shallow in what you're wanting or what you're upset about? And I used to get this one a lot when I was working like way too hard. Quite simply, working too hard. Telling me to remember to take a break, look after myself. What the transitions and glamour, intrigue and drama with our Marie Masquerade. But again, that could be masking the issues that are going on, or pretending to be somebody that you're not, or you're surrounded by somebody who's not quite who they say they are, and you already know that situation, but that's like kind of calling you out to look at it. So that's that one. And then there's vampires, which isn't shiny. Another great deck. You know, upstart, revolution, rebellion, knowledge, learning, education, study. These ones are usually, they to me, they fit more what I'm actually doing inside, what's going on inside. Like, you know, if I was focusing on trying to bring out my authenticity, being real, and not trying to be like a carbon copy of somebody else, or, you know, like, for instance, those of us with YouTube channels worrying about whether we've got it right. Are we doing the right thing? Our channel doesn't look like X's channel. Have we done our video correctly? All that kind of thing. It's sort of, that's what I feel like anyway with this deck. You get the vampire speaking to you. You get a blessing about the card. You get the curse of the card. And you get a working with the card, which is what I like about this guidebook as well. So that is another really great deck. And that's kind of how I use them. This one is always usually kind of my inner landscape. Sometimes I might, if I'm feeling called to, I might pull one of those or one of those, probably more one of these for an inner landscape. But usually it's this one, and these are usually the outer. And then this one I could put with another deck. So I could put this, for instance, with the Witch's Oracle. So I could use this as what's going on around me, this one what's going on inside. So that's just another kind of layer to the Oracle. I have like sort of intuitive, semi-clarifying decks. So we'll do these ones. Soul Cards 1. It's not been with me that long, so probably only a couple of months. I don't work with it often, but I might just pull one of these and sit it on my stand and reflect on it. Ask it what message it might have for me. I might throw out a couple of cards and see kind of how I feel when I put them together. What do I think they're saying? And these are more reflective. I use these to kind of get my intuition flowing. I find them a lot harder to connect to instantly. So for these ones, I will take my time. These aren't a rushed, I can't throw these down and be in an instant, oh, here's what's going on, if I'm not already in that headspace. So I quite like to take them out, put them on the side, ruminate on them, you know, walk past them, come back at the end of the day, sit down with them. Do I feel my day reflects anything that was in the card? Was there a message in there that I just didn't pick up? So that's how I do like to use these ones. But I think the artwork is just beautiful. The colours are fantastic. One day I'll get Soul Cards 2 as well, but these are Soul Cards 1 because I'm more of a blue person and they have blue backs. And I think I have explained that I feel with that, these to me felt more thoughts than feelings. I feel like this is more about what's going on upstairs rather than what's going on in the heart. And the other deck, I feel, to me personally, was more about feelings and heart. So I use this one for my kind of mental clarity stuff. And they are by Deborah Chapin. So that's one really good deck that I use to get the, so like I say, that one's to build the intuition, to get intuition working for me. I have the Oracle of Echoes by Anna Turian. I really don't use this one as much as I probably ought to. But these are great. Version 1, second print. So we've got the borders on these ones, and the art's just slightly smaller because of the borders. but it's another really nice kind of watery colour deck. You have to feel into the images really, and the keywords, sometimes we don't even use keywords. You could probably cut the keywords off and treat them like soul cards, to be fair. Just ignore them completely. But yeah, they take a little bit longer sometimes to read. These would be a clarifier over the top of a tarot reading for me. I wouldn't start a reading with these ones. I would finish a reading probably with these. Whereas I have very successfully started a tarot reading with these ones to get the fundamental energy of the reading if it was like a general read. And that has been quite successful. And actually, the Oracles of Shadows and Light by Jasmine Beckett-Griffiths and Lucy Cavendish, I have started a reading with that deck, and that has been, and they have been on point for the reason of the reading and the question, because it was a silent question. So that one has actually proven to be really good. And then we have the Abandoned Oracle, kind of again a clarifier. I would normally throw this down after I've done my kind of tarot reading or my card for the day. Then I would like chuck down this card to see what else it wants to show me. Sometimes I'll put 2, sometimes I'll put 3 down, because these can read quite nicely together in a story. So that's another way of using this Oracle deck. Again, it just has a keyword on the bottom. It's a little bit like the Oracle of Echoes, really, but the artwork is just more humorous. For those who don't think so. Yeah, that's my feeling on these. They're humorous. So that's how I use those. And then, so just to kind of clarify how I'm using them. So we've talked about them. But just to show, so this would be an example here. So I would put down, say, an oracle card to know what the energy is of the reading that I want to read. And then I would put tarot cards down either side. So I'd put down, do this, don't do this, for the energy. So in order to breathe in that energy, or to, you know, embrace this energy, take it on, what should I do? What should I not do? You know, so what's going to counteract that energy? What's going to bring in that energy? Another way of using it is, here's the energy of my week, embracing whatever the tarot card says and releasing something. So you have to get rid of something in order to embrace something. So again, I can use it as an embrace and a release with the energy in the middle. That's just another way that I kind of I'm showing you that I incorporate it. So I can also use it to give me an overview of the week, although here it's, I've thrown them down differently here. But the overview of the week, I could throw down a main card being an oracle card, depending what I'm feeling, and then don't do this, do this again on the other side. So using it as an overview, energy overview. I mean, I guess they're all the same kind of words really, but I've gone to this deck because this was one of the main, or this book, because this was one of the main books where I started really using oracle cards in the main reading for myself. And other ways I was doing this is I was using goddess decks, and I was pulling like a goddess card to see what goddess I wanted to embrace, what the goddess brought, what their strengths were, what their weaknesses were. How did I want to embrace the strengths of that person, or the weaknesses, or how they are, or what they embody? How does it work for me? And I'd put that down as a card, and I'd use that as my kind of weekly thought card, and I'd put that up. I wouldn't put it away, and I'd have it out where I could see it again, much like I do with the oracle, the soul cards. The other thing I started doing last year was pulling a creative card. So I'd pull a oracle card specifically for creating and to get my creative juices flowing, or forcing my creative juices rather. And I'd also pull an oracle card with an activity or a focus card to do something. Here, just as proof, so I would pull a card for inner landscape, and I'd pull a card for my outer landscape. So what's affecting me internally, what's affecting me externally. And then I could pull an extra base energy card, and I'd also use the card just as a check-in for myself, like a self check-in. What's just going on with me? What do I need to know about myself today? And I'd pull a card for like a daily check-in. So here we have the energy, like the activity card. So Everyday Witch is the deck I was using for the activity, really, like creating an activity. So these are the backs on these. The cards, they're based on the elements, earth, air, fire, water. And every card kind of came with an activity, which is why I created that. So I've got here. Not sure why that one's in there. Let's just have a look. It's been a while. Obviously using it as a bookmark for something. Inspiration, courage. Okay, so I've got it in here for inspiration and courage. It must be the last time I read and used the deck. So it tells you about the card. You then get a divination message telling you what you may or may not be in need of. And you get like what they call the magic. So that would be like what I would say is the activity to the card. So for this one, we have carnelian is a wonderful stone for both activity and courage. Find a carnelian crystal or tumbled rock or a piece of jewellery with carnelian in if you want to have it with you often. Sit with it for a while in front of your altar or quiet space or your meditation space and ask the element of fire to help you connect to the power inside the stone. And then ask whatever you need to ask for the stone. So that's what I mean by an activity. So I would use this deck as an activity and what to do, and it's wisdom. And just getting you using things in every day and doing that kind of everyday practice or meditation. Start of last year, I began using Alana Fairchild's deck for Love Your Inner Goddess. Not really for readings. The book is well written. There is spiritual guidance, there is sacred ritual in them, there is what the card might mean in a reading, but I didn't instantly connect to what was going on. But what I did connect to was the beautiful artwork and the backs. They're covered in spirals. Don't know if you can see that. So the backs look like this. The fronts look like this. So we have lots of artwork. Is that one? Yep, so let's put that one down. You'll see why in a second. Put that one down. That's probably enough for demonstration, I think. Yeah, and we'll use that one as well. Okay, so I would pull one every week to encourage me to start getting creative, along with the card that went to tell me what to do. So I'd have an energy, I'd have a creative card, how to be creative, I'd have a give me an activity to do card as well. So something I don't do very often. Let's go this way around. This has had one showing really. I'm not an artist, I'm not a great artist, but please don't come at me about that. I'm going to show you what I was doing just in case it might actually inspire others. So this is an old sketchbook and I started drawing over old things as well. So there are some very childish pictures in here as well as playing. There she is. So I used her to draw over an old page and kind of get me back into using pencils and colours, because I'm not a pencil colour person. I used to be just sketch and pen, and I don't think I did a bad job. Then here, I used her for my inspiration there. And expanded. So we've got collage and all sorts on here, stickers, pens. And then this lady, she's there. So just inspiring me to get, like I say, get my pens and papers back out. But this deck, which encouraged me to make a pouch and to get creative with my art. And there you go. Just having a little look here. So you can see kind of really captured and inspired my imagination and got me back to drawing. So I think there is another card linked to this, but I can't find it right now. But that's the three that inspired this particular drawing. And that's what I mean by getting creative. And that one is there. Just have it. There's another card that kind of inspired that. Then we have another deck that inspired some art with me, which is this one. Yeah, I probably should have got these preloaded for you. I know. Listed in order. No. That would have been easier. There we go. So as you can see, it was sort of taking elements of what I see around me, what I see in the cards, and then adding my own things. So we got that section of the card here, about half the card because his face isn't on there. So you got that there. So I'll just get me back into pen drawing. Yeah, like it's just something I enjoyed doing. And then one more, definite inspired by. There we go. Those two. So that's how I use my oracles and how I like to be inspired by them. What do you like to do with your oracles? How do you work with yours? Do you do random things with them like I do? Or do you just simply use them for readings? It'll be really interesting to know. And please do share, like we all enjoy seeing how this works and we enjoy seeing people use the cards as well. I might have to do, I should have really laid out some cards and shown you how I use them in a reading, but this is more, I think I've got enough here to keep you going, keep you amused. But please do join in the hashtag how I use my oracle. And don't forget to check out Elemental Cartomancy's VR down below. Thank you. Bye.